Did anybody watch this interview with Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris, Oprah Winfrey? And the New York Times. I got to share this article with the New York Times because they are just gushing here. I mean, the love fest is oozing from my computer screen. And all that was missing, by the way, is Oprah back on the air? This felt like an episode of Oprah. But all that was missing here was some soft music, candles, and Astroglide. I kid you not. Miss Harris. Miss Harris. Yes. So the title of the article here, and welcome back to the channel Culture Confederacy. Here it is Friday, so happy Friday, everybody. And if you're new to the channel, no fancy graphics, epic soundtracks, pretty boy camera angles, a Gmail, my smartphone, the news of the day, and this mission, this crusade to preserve great art, music, history, and culture. So the title of the article, Harris hits core campaign themes at emotional forum with Oprah Winfrey. But I'm so riled up, I gotta take a sip of my coffee. Vice President Kamala Harris spoke off the cuff. Well, the truth is, most of the stuff in television, it's scripted. As guest included a teenager shot at her school and the family of a woman in Georgia who died as a result of the state's abortion ban. Is that really true? So this is an article by Erica L. Green. By the way, what does the L stand for? If, in fact, Erica L. Green is your real name. Most of these people in the media, they use an alias. But it says here, Vice President Kamala Harris harnessed the power of one of our most powerful surrogates, one of America's most foremost interviewers, to lay out a pitch for her campaign on Thursday as she confronted a range of pressing issues during a live stream forum with Oprah Winfrey. The event, Unite for America, was hosted by Miss Winfrey and drew hundreds of thousands of viewers. Unite for America? Sounds like they took a playbook from Charlottesville. Remember Unite the rally? And were they calling for violence here because Kamala Harris talked about guns? How if somebody came into her home, treated her home, she would shoot them? Let's see. You're calling this the Unite for America rally. You're talking about shooting somebody who's intruding in your private space, your home. But you're not condoning gun violence here. Okay. So moving on, bolstering a strategy that Ms. Harris's campaign sees as crucial to reaching voters in battleground states and beyond in November. Now, I have a theory here. I think it's going to get so bad with these interviews that they're going to ditch Kamala Harris at the last moment. And somehow, by some odd way, Trump's going to win by default. For some reason, I'm seeing that. Don't ask me why. But I really think that it's going to get so bad with these interviews with Kamala Harris because you got Democrats coming out, people in the media coming out and saying, what's going on here? It's all word salad queen. So I really think they're going to try to ditch her at the last moment. Now, the event brought together members of over 100 online groups that have coalesced around Miss Harris since she became the Democrat nominee. This includes White Dudes for Harris, Cat Ladies for Kamala, and Latinas for Harris. Also joining virtually were celebrities that included Chris Rock, Ben Stiller, Jennifer Lopez, Tracy Ellis Ross, and Meryl Streep. All these Hollywood types who have no connection whatsoever to you and me. They live in these gated communities. Now, I might give Chris Rock a pass because he's black. Maybe Oprah Winfrey because, they grew up in not the best circumstances. They're minorities. But the most remarkable moments in the roughly 90-minute forum came when Miss Winfrey did what she does best, orchestrating an interview that connects with everyday Americans. Did you feel connected with this interview? Did you feel like Kamala Harris really spoke to you? We need community. We need people in the community because we need community. Because you need people in the community to have a community. Because it's about community and people in the community for community. Yes. So this interview was supposed to connect with everyday Americans whose experiences illustrate the strife of a country craving empathy. Well, New York Times, we are not a country. I've said this numerous times before. We are a federal republic, a confederation of states. We always have been. Now, that may have evolved somewhat, but we primarily are a federal republic, confederation of states. The discussions were heavy at times. Notice the love fest here. The discussions were heavy at times, with members of the audience in person and at home in tears. These people were in tears just watching this interview. Were you shedding tears over this? Let me know in the comment section below. Ms. Harris has often spoken off the cuff or at length about many issues. You mean word salad? Or to top the ticket after President Biden dropped out of the race. Here she addressed questions from the audience and Ms. Winfrey about issues like immigration and gun violence. What would happen if her opponent, former President Donald J. Trump, didn't accept the results of the election should he lose a second time? What's going to happen if the Democrats lose? Are they going to loot? Are they going to riot? Are they going to have another, or have something like January 6th? Just asking here. Ms. Harris spoke more elaborately than she did before on the effects of illegal immigration. Word salad, a key issue for voters and a vulnerability in her campaign. Wasn't she the border czar? She's going to pin all this on Trump, yet her and Biden have been in office for what, 4 years now? She cited the devastating effects of fentanyl, overwhelmed Border Patrol agents, and strained resources for prosecuting transnational criminal organizations. Pointed out that a bill that Mr. Trump had helped kill in Congress would have helped confront these problems, and she vowed to resurrect that bill and sign it. You go, girl. Talks about abortion rights here. Here you go. The mother and sister of Amber Thurman spoke publicly for the first time about her death by sepsis after waiting 20 hours an outcome of the state's abortion ban. But there's a catch here. For a hospital to treat her complications from an abortion pill. So wait a minute. So you're fighting for reproductive rights, access to abortion here. But you admit here, New York Times, that Amber Thurman, she had access to an abortion pill. And she went to the hospital to treat these complications from taking the abortion pill. Huh. Isn't that interesting? So the backtracking here. It's all about reproductive rights, you see. Ms. Thurman's story, reported by ProPublica, has crystallized the consequences of restrictions on reproductive health. By the way, isn't ProPublica, aren't they the ones that did that? In fact, I saw this last night for the first time. Didn't they do that documentary on Frontline about Charlottesville? And isn't the name of this or this forum last night, wasn't it called Unite for America? Taking a playbook out of Charlottesville? Sounds like it to me. Amber was not a statistic, her mother said, as members of the crowd teared up. She was loved by a family, a strong family, and we would have done whatever we could to get our baby, the help that she needed. Now, that's a sad situation, what happened with this girl, Amber Thurman. But she was suffering from complications from the abortion pill that she took. Not from necessarily being denied access to an abortion. Because if she was denied access to an abortion, she would have never gotten her hands on an abortion pill, New York Times. Can't you get your story straight? See, here I tell you like it is. Now, what's funny here is they talked to these people in Georgia. But as far as I can recall here, they didn't talk to anybody in Detroit. The issues of the people who are living in Detroit. What are the people in Detroit dealing with right now? That's missing from this article. So moving on, also in the crowd at the forum held outside Detroit was Natalie Griffith, a 15-year-old student who was shot twice in algebra class by a classmate during a campus attack on September 4th at Appalachia High School. also in Georgia. Again, not addressing the issues of people in Detroit. You have this thing in Detroit. Why aren't you talking to the citizens of Detroit here? Her mother, Marilda Griffith, sobbed, telling the story of how that day unfolded. The whole world needs to hear what we women, that we have our children, we have a job. Ms. Griffith said, the job is to protect our children. The job is to protect our nation. And Ms. Harris agreed, citing the bone-chilling sight of a sea of students raising their hands when on tours across the country. She asked if they had participated in active shooter drills. Now, I have a lot of questions about some of these school shootings, but that's for another time, another place, another time. Now, this is funny. So Meryl Streep chimes in. And she asked Ms. Harris, Kamala Harris, how she was preparing for the long slog of shenanigans that may come should Mr. Trump not accept the election results and incite violence reminiscent of the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021. Well, what happens if the Democrats lose? Are they going to pull a January 6? We may never know. Ms. Harris said her team was ready for Mr. Trump to challenge the election. Quote, the lawyers are working, but she encouraged people to talk with their friends about misinformation to protect poll workers and not to be afraid to vote. So not to go too long in the video here, this is at the New York Times just gushing, the love fest oozing from my computer screen over Kamala Harris in this interview with Oprah Winfrey, and there was nothing here. It was all word salad. Word salad, platitudes. But people were cheering at home because it's Kamala Harris. Yes, because we need community. Because people of the community need people of the community because it's community. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do. You can follow me at Instagram, hashtag Jason Composes, because I write music in my spare time. Or you can go to X, Culture Confederacy, at Culture Confed1 on X. And you can find me at Substack. This is the Culture Confederacy saying peace out. Stay safe, everybody. God bless this thing called the United States. I'll catch you next time, and y'all have a great Friday. Take care.